It's good to know that.
Sex class for the men in Jamaica. Oh my goodness, Jamaican men can't have sex. What? You know, the Minister of Health has said that Jamaican men are firing blank. Jamaican men, they're firing blank. Now the women are saying that the Jamaican men need to go class, go learn. Jamaican men can't have sex. Oh, what a shame. Selburn Cox, sir, Jamaican men need to go learn sex. They need to go get sex lesson.
I love the special way you say.
Well, circle to repost the live, please, and tap the screen as well.
Well, what a fantastic day today was in the sun here in Jamaica. All kinds of things happening. I see where Mr. Perry is suggesting that the minister misled Parliament. Now, the Minister of Transport, Energy, Darrell Vaz, gave a report in Parliament yesterday, which he said was given to him by the JPS. The minister actually provided clarity on that today at the press conference.
Processing for 75 countries.
In the meantime, the United States, they have listen to that. Listen to this.
Our visa system, okay, who you allow to visit your country should reflect the national interest. We said that from the very beginning. It was one of the directives that we got from the president. It's one of the things he ran on. And so our visa process basically is, and there are some times we'll deny people visas because of activities they've undertaken overseas. Other times it's people that have visas but are in the United States doing things that run counter to our national interest. And the law gives us the right, and in fact, I would argue the obligation to remove people like that from our country. And we're going to continue to do it.
Actually being reported as a pause, not a permanent shutdown. As of the student, you may be seeing headlines saying the U.S. stopped immigrant visa processing for 75 countries. What's actually being reported is a pause, not a permanent shutdown. As of right now, there's no formal press release, no public memo, no Federal Register notice, and no published cable from the U.S. Department of State. None. Zero. Everything you're reading, everything we're reading is based on news reporting, not an official State Department announcement. And what the news is saying is that approximately 75 consulates were instructed to temporarily pause immigrant visa processing while procedures are being reviewed. A pause means delay. It doesn't mean denial. It doesn't mean cases are now canceled. It doesn't mean visas are banned forever. It doesn't mean your family members never getting to the United States. Importantly, there is no end date announced, but there is also no language saying this is permanent. In immigration, that usually means processing resumes once guidance is clarified. So if you or your family are affected, it's frustrating, it's delaying, it's annoying, it's scary, but it's not the end of the road. It's a slowdown, a speed bump. As soon as there's an official State Department guidance, we'll know exactly what's happening. We'll know exactly what to tell you. But until then, take a deep breath and don't panic.
All right, so there you have it. I think the misinformation that came out today was that the United States was canceling visas. So to be very clear, it is immigrant visa processing that is on a pause. Immigrant. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have put out a release on this. And it is very important that we go to the sources and not listen to misinformation. Here is it.
An immigrant visa is a document allowing foreign nationals to permanently live in the United States while they await the issuance of a green card. But the door has seemingly been closed on the dream held by many. On Wednesday, the U.S. State Department said it instructed consular officers to halt immigrant visa applications from 75 countries across the globe. It's the latest in a string of immigration crackdowns announced by the Trump administration. In a social media post, the State Department says it's aiming to pause the visa processing for immigrants who take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. It says the freeze will remain active until the U.S. can ensure that new immigrants will not extract wealth from Americans. The suspension will not apply to those seeking non-immigrant, temporary tourist or business visas. The full list of countries under the policy has not been officially released, but several media reports named 11 Caribbean countries among the 75, Jamaica being one of them. In a social media post, Senator Johnson Smith confirmed the news, but she says the pause does not affect visas for students, tourists, business, or visas which are part of the seasonal work programs. She says these continue to be processed at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston. Minister Johnson Smith says the embassy will provide further clarity on the matter once they are able. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
All right, so thanks to Nationwide for that. I think that should clear that up. Good evening again to you, Scratchy. Hi, how you doing, man?
Yes, good evening. Happy New Year, neighbor. Happy New Year, Carolina. I believe the first I've been back from the New Year's, guys. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, yeah. No, is it? Today is the 14th. Scratchy, a comment on this immigrant visa. What do you think is happening here?
Again, neighbor, I'm definitely neighbor as the person was making the announcement earlier, said neighbor in the clippings they played. It is not something that is sent out officially from the decision like that come from the State Department. It's not something that was officially sent out from the State Department. If you notice, not even the Jamaicans, the Minister for Foreign Affairs could even give much information on it. So it's not something that is fully documented or put out there. But you know, American press, neighbor, American press have the privilege, neighbor, sometimes of getting information that might not be set in stone as yet. But definitely, neighbor, again, America have a president, neighbor. This is not new, neighbor. There's a president in his first term. He did this to a lot of countries. Jamaica might not be a part of it at that particular time, but he has been doing these things over and over, neighbor. Again, and America immigration situation is very complex. There are lot of different types of visas. So again, neighbor, persons who are concerned should just wait for the official pronouncement and official understanding from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Again, some from understanding from a legal immigration lawyer.
Yeah, and what is clear for Scratch is that this is immigrant visa. So if you have a visa appointment to visit the United States, you continue as usual. No affect you at all. And
I think that's where the problem lies, neighbor, in understanding what is an immigrant visa. I'm happy for the clippings that you played earlier as well from Nationwide. An immigrant visa meaning some persons who are already in the United States, say, who are waiting on green cards and stuff like that. So those persons are the one. It's not a cancellation. They say it's a pause. So there might be sometime when you see a pause in these things, neighbor, it might be an influx of fraud or whatever might be going on while they pause these things to kind of do some form of introspect on it and see where they can fix it and come back stronger. So it's not anything to panic for right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure that our minister and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, diplomats in the United States, Rear Admiral, our U.S. ambassador, would be seeking clarity on this, Scratchy, to make sure that Jamaicans are clear as to what is happening.
I'm definitely, neighbor. The moment Jamaica is listed as one of the countries, neighbor, that the party is put on, neighbor, our consul office, neighbor, our ambassador and our minister will definitely have to seek clarity from within the State Department, the agency that is responsible for embassies and stuff in the US. So I would definitely expect that, neighbor, because they know that Jamaica, the immigration thing between Jamaica and US neighbor, a lot of Jamaicans survive off their US visa, a lot of Jamaicans hold US green cards and stuff like that. So it is very, very much vital information neighbor for the society.
Yeah, let me play this again for those.
The visa ban that you hear in the news is a pause. It is not a permanent ban. It's not ending everybody's case. And it's only for people who are outside of the United States for their green cards, not their visas, not their tourist visas. Also importantly, it's not for adjustment of status. So if you are already in the United States and are adjusting your status, this ban doesn't apply to you as well. Lastly, just being reported in the news. There has not been any State Department cable or memo or press release, nothing. So until we know more, let's not panic.
I know a lot of Jamaicans are panicking. And
the visa ban that you hear in the news is a pause. It is not a permanent ban. It's not ending everybody's case. And it's only for people who are outside of the United States for their green cards, not their visas, not their tourist visas. Also importantly, it's not for adjustment of status. So if you are already in the United States and are adjusting your status, this ban doesn't apply to you as well. Lastly, just being reported in the news, there has not been any State Department cable or memo or press release, nothing. So until we know more, let's not panic.
Fantastic. Very, very important for Jamaicans to understand, Scratchy, that it's not for non-immigrant visas. Nothing is happening there.
Definitely, neighbors. The persons who made their appointment with the whatever travel agency for their regular visitor visa appointment, I believe it's called B2 or something like that. Yeah. Whatever, something like that, I believe it is called. So persons who made those regular visa appointment for visitors visa, those persons are still valid. Persons who are still going for work, for the J1 visa, work and travel visa, I think that those are still standing. So those persons don't need to worry. So persons who are being filed for are marriage through green card and stuff like that.
Right. Something came out in Parliament yesterday, Scratchy, that the Minister of Energy said that the Eastern Westmoreland were receiving electricity. It turns out, Scratchy, that the minister was misled by the JPS. Why would the JPS provide the minister with a misleading report and cause the minister to go into Parliament and in essence misled the Parliament? Because it is a misleading of the Parliament.
I mean, if we're going to go by Parliament principles and Parliament rules, neighbor, it is definitely a misleading of the Parliament, neighbor. Once you come inside of the Parliament, neighbor, and say something that doesn't go that way, it is definitely a misleading of the Parliament. But again, neighbor, we must also understand that ministers...
Let us make the distinction, though, that it was not a deliberate which I think there is a sanction for that, no, Scratchy? When you mislead Parliament.
I believe that there's a sanction for it. I believe there's a sanction for deliberately misleading. I think...
Yeah.
I think it's a deliberately misleading.
Deliberate misleading, right?
Yeah, yes.
That they can move a sensor motion or something like that. So the minister today apologized at the press conference for misleading the Parliament, and said that he had some choice words with the JPS. But how could the JPS have provided a minister with a report that is false, Scratchy? What's happening here?
Definitely, neighbor, and the JPS should definitely come out, neighbor, and apologize, neighbor, because Mr. Vaz, neighbor, is a minister, neighbor. He relies on technocrats, neighbor, for information where he's going to come back and feed to the masses, which is the population. So if a technocrat mislead a minister, neighbor, that's something very, very serious, you know. And I would like to know what is JPS response rebuttal towards misleading the minister, because I'm wondering then, I mean, maybe it can be a level where I'm trying to put it best in JPS position, neighbor, where I'm saying that, okay, then it might be based on the geographical location or the mapping. JPS might not be aware of where is central Westmoreland compared to western Westmoreland. I don't know if it's a situation like that, neighbor, where it's based on the geographical location or the mapping as to where one constituency start compared to where one constituency stop. And I don't know if JPS neither in their distribution of electricity. I don't know if JPS is doing that within constituency level, neighbor. I think it's just done on a broadband parish level. So I am not 100% sure.
Okay. Do you not find it incredulous, Scratchy, that not one person in Eastern Westmoreland now have electricity based on Dayton Campbell?
Definitely, neighbor. I find it that I would also seek, neighbor, to understand is what based on what is the severity of that direct area, neighbor, or JPS to neighbor. We must also understand that what despite the government giving JPS to what giving that lending JPS that 150 million, neighbor, we must also have, neighbor, understand, neighbor, that JPS is a private institution. JPS relies on profit, neighbor. All right, I know they are going to a certain level of losses, so it is also need to be stated, neighbor, that specific side of Westmoreland, neighbor, might be the least paying side where JPS receive any form of profit from, neighbor. I'm not gonna go and spend my resources, neighbor, where I'm not receiving back anything compared to other places that might need it more. So that might also be a situation down there in central, in whatever part of Westmoreland that may be.
You are saying to me that JPS could be prioritizing paid customers first, and maybe it is a reflection on that constituency in terms of their abjugation of their responsibility to pay electricity bill.
Definitely, but this is no disrespect to anyone who's living in that constituency, neighbor. If you look at the devastation that happens in that constituency, neighbor, if you look at that constituency itself, neighbor, what type of viable certain mainstream urban areas or certain other type of areas does that constituency consist of compared to other constituency part of the parish, neighbor? So I would think, neighbor, that JPS would definitely, neighbor, be trying to prioritize its customers, persons who they get a month, who they can charge for a monthly bill. I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know if that's the situation down there. But I would suggest that, neighbor, if I was JPS boss, I would definitely try to prioritize where I'm getting profit from compared to where it's not.
In one instance,
listen to Mr. Campbell.
Lines were rebuilt with over 1,000 poles from Ferris Cross to Hodges, Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, to restore approximately 2,000 customers. Is the minister aware that that is a proposal and that has not yet taken place? There is no rebuilding of lines that has taken place from Ferris to Hodges in St. Elizabeth. To go further, Mr. Speaker, there is not one customer of JPS in Eastern Westmoreland that is currently with electricity. Not one. Of the 17,000.
Scratchy. This is a shock to hear, doing of Scratchy. Not one.
Yes, neighbor, but it also must be put in context, neighbor, to know that not one customer doesn't mean that not one citizen or not one resident, because not every single resident of that constituency, neighbor, is a paying customer of JPS.
Is not one customer of JPS.
He said not one customer of JPS. So I don't know how many customer JPS have in that constituency, neighbor. JPS might have 5 customers in that constituency.
Well, I tell you something. You know, one of the things that I find in Jamaica that is poor, Scratchy, journalism. You don't think by now a journalist should have gone into Eastern Westmoreland to get us to understand what is the situation there?
I'm definitely, neighbor. If I was in the business of journalism, neighbor, and I a member of parliament come to parliament, neighbor, and say that not one customer in the whole Eastern Westmoreland, neighbor, haven't gotten electricity, neighbor, that would arouse my curiosity, neighbor, to want to go down to Western Westmoreland.
I would have to send a reporter there to find out, is this true? Because it sound weird. What I tell you, it sound weird, Scratchy. I don't know. I mean, we are all
It definitely sounds away, neighbor. It definitely sounds away.
Listen to him again.
Thank you very much. I didn't make a first one. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, through you to the minister, sir. In the statement on page...
By the way, are there any persons listening to us from Eastern Westmoreland that can verify this information? It will be good. I want to get to the minister's response at the press conference today too. But is there anyone in Westmoreland could verify if this is true? Go ahead.
5. It says that In one instance, 40 miles of lines were rebuilt with over 1,000 poles from Ferris Cross to Hodges, Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, to restore approximately 2,000 customers.
This is like the Public Procurement
Is
Commission.
the minister aware that that is a proposal and that has not yet taken place? There is no rebuilding of lines that has taken place from Ferris to Hodges in St. Elizabeth. To go further, Mr. Speaker.
All right, Swaby.
There is not one.
All right, Swaby, come up, Swaby. Put up Swaby for me, moderator.
Customer of JPS in this from Ferris to Hodges in St. Elizabeth. To go further, Mr. Speaker, there is not one customer of JPS in Eastern Westmoreland that is currently with electricity. Not one. Of the 17,000 persons, customers in Westmoreland that are currently without electricity, over 10,000 of them are from Eastern Westmoreland. Approximately 60% of them.
So Scratchy, he gave more context here. At least 10,000 JPS customers and not one have light.
If that JPS need to come to the front of the class, neighbor, and clarify what is going on. We need some answers on JPS, neighbor. Because
these are Jamaicans. These are Jamaicans, Scratchy. It not sound. It's so. Even the members of parliament on the PNP side were shocked.
Yes, neighbor, definitely, neighbor. Anyone hearing these type of news or information, neighbor, would definitely be shocked, neighbor. So that's why we definitely want to hear from the JPS as to why Eastern Westmoreland is lacking in terms of, and compared to other parts of the island that was devastated by Hurricane Melissa.
Hold on there for me, Scratchy. Swaby, 19. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, neighbor. How are you?
How are you? You are from Eastern Westmoreland?
Yes, I'm from Belmont, Westmoreland.
You're from Belmont. No, is Belmont in Eastern Westmoreland, Dayton Campbell's constituency?
Yes, sir.
Do you have light,
From
ma'am?
Savalma, actually from Savalma, straight back to Bluefields, Belmont, White House. No, not they just reached at a place named Paradise with some light poles that they planting. Nobody.
No, are you confirming that what Dayton Campbell said is true?
Yes, yes, that's true.
You are from Eastern Westmoreland.
Yes.
You live there now, ma'am?
I'm not there right now, but I'm telling you, that's where my house is. Everything is. I'm right there. We don't have no light from the hurricane. Nobody, apart from if you have a generator or solar light, nothing like that. Nothing.
Entire constituency.
Entire. He's entire. I'm telling you, but Scratchy make a point again that what he's saying too, that the JPS will like sabotaging like who, because most of some of these people
it wouldn't be sabotage though, you know. It was just strictly business.
Well, you have to look on the side there again. So Scratchy have a big point there too.
You are confirming too, ma'am, that a lot of the people in Eastern Westmoreland don't pay light bill?
Yes, sir. I'm telling you.
They don't pay light bill, ma'am?
You don't understand it. You don't understand.
No,
I see an era where my mom live, and I'm telling you, it's only 3 persons. One, I was saying to my sister, imagine only 3 persons up in this side here could pay a current bill. Yes?
This is the seat of the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, PJ Patterson.
Yes. Oh my God, sir. Yes, sir.
What the rockstone you sent to me? Hold on there for me. That's good. No, this is amazing stuff. I beg that minute, ma'am. Scratchy, this is the seat of the former Prime Minister.
Definitely, neighbor. A former Prime Minister, neighbor. A man who was Prime Minister for Jamaica for 14.5 years, neighbor. Definitely, neighbor. It's not a constituency like that, neighbor, is in the condition it is in it.
But
just
neighbor.
Hold on for me, Swaby. Hold on for me, Swaby. I'm coming back to you, Scratchy. not one person in Eastern Westmoreland have light. This is what you call, Scratchy, this is what you call a failure of the people. This is how the politics have failed them.
Definitely, neighbor. This is all shocking, neighbor, to know that Westmoreland, neighbor, in particular, neighbor, a parish neighbor that has suffered from social development, neighbor. And for over the years, neighbor, this is a party, neighbor, that has been diehard, that has been madly in love, neighbor, with the People's National Party. A parish that has been madly in love with the People's National Party. And yeah, it's just a shame, neighbor. It's definitely a shame, neighbor, to know. I would feel good right now, neighbor, if I was a former prime minister for that length of time, neighbor. I know that a constituency that high, a total responsibility over neighbor, is in the condition it is in, neighbor. I would feel good in myself.
So then, Scratchy, if you put this into context in terms of the whole sociological aspect of it, is to be blamed on the PNP.
Yeah, but I often said that before, neighbor, that a lot of Jamaican social ill, a lot of Jamaica social ill, Jamaica social problems, Jamaica social issues, neighbor. It's not a result of the People's National Party, neighbor. The PNP single-handedly, neighbor, morph poverty, neighbor. They morph unemployment, neighbor. They give these things energy. They feed into these things, neighbor. Hence the reason why we see Jamaica in the condition it is in right now. Even though we are making a lot of gains, we see a lot of persons are resistant towards that gain. Persons are even resistant to want to be part of prosperity because the whole persons are used to poverty.
So let me ask you something, Swaby. Why did people return to the PNP?
My neighbor, I'm going to tell you something. I am 58-year-old, and I'm telling you something. I see they have dirt road down there from a child, and since what, 2022, that road fixed. Most of Westmoreland Road that they have, Mr. PJ did Carl Bly. You know, Dr. Carl Bly used to come at my house like every Sunday, come and look for my grandfather. And never fix that road. He always have to come, like send somebody to call my grandfather to come and talk to him. And you know, one day I said to, he has somebody, he always come up the way. And I said to them one day, that I was a little child, and I said, my God, every time when he come to my grandfather, he have to send somebody to call him. He don't see that the same road that he wanted that man to come and look for him. He don't see that road want to fix. And nobody, Mr. PJ come up there all the time, and he's never fix that road. And since last 2022, Mr. Andrew Holness fixed that road. I'm telling you, neighbor.
So the member of parliament, ma'am, suggesting that not one person in Westmoreland have lied is correct. You are saying that is true.
Correct, really correct.
But you are saying to me that there is a story behind that.
Yeah.
And the story is, in reality, JPS is not really rushing for that because
I don't think so. I don't think so, because as what I said, you're going to look where you can sell more fish. You understand? You make more money. So come on, as you say, yeah, if you're doing a business, what you gonna do? So I can't blame him. Everybody, when I call down, everybody quarrel. I said to him, so listen, you have to understand.
Yeah, you could help me, ma'am, to appreciate how did the people return the party to power in the entire parish of Westmoreland in 2025. What's happening with the people?
They listen, when I talk to them, because listen, I grow down there as a PMP yard, you know. My yard is a PMP yard, like it's a big yard. The yard that I grew up in, we would have like, my grandfather have like 10 kids, and like, you know, a big yard, like we have 6 yards. So like when voting time come, you'd have a 17 person vote. And they would carry like a big box of shirt for everybody and stuff like that. And everybody, they don't, listen to me, I don't know what the problem is, but they have this mentality in them. And they just said, like they grow, they would say, okay, a band come and see, my mother a PNP, my grandmother a PNP, so everybody a PNP. And even right now, I almost have to threaten who I live with right now and tell them, so listen to me. We used to go to church, or we have to have our good shoes in our hand, and have a little piece of shoes that we wear off the road to go down there. So listen me now, you have Kiara come up right in your house, in your yard now. You could go back and go vote back for PMP. Come on, what kind of mentality you know have on our head? Come on now. I have to like a fight with these people them up in their eye. Yeah, I'm after a fight. I said other day I go down there, I said, listen me, no, no,
Yeah.
not pay for heart. No, not pay for go heart, no. So who no think do it? Who no young people, who no think do these things? Me say when my son used to go heart, I have to pay for him to go there. No, it's free. Oh no, I'll get checked. No. Tell me who do it?
Somebody said every time in the dark. Hold on this way. Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor.
These are Jamaicans, though, Scratchy. And somehow it is almost as if this piece of Jamaica is cut off and are different. Are these people not Jamaican, Scratchy? Are they not deserving of light to not one person in the entire constituency of Eastern Westmoreland have light?
I mean, neighbor, I would definitely, neighbor, I would agree, neighbor, that they definitely deserve light, neighbor. They definitely deserve light, neighbor. But again, light in Jamaica, neighbor, is not a social service, neighbor.
Yeah.
It's not a social service, neighbor. It's not provided by government. It's not a social service. It's not a social amenity. So it is something, neighbor, that its usage come with some form of compensation. You have to pay for its usage, neighbor. Because it is expensive, it's a very expensive commodity, neighbor, to operate, neighbor. It takes gas to push it. So the JPS, neighbor, I think they are prioritizing, neighbor. Someone here from Westmoreland is speaking and saying that she can attest to it, neighbor. That a lot of these persons are not paying customers, neighbor. So they might be looking at neighbor and saying that, yes, but Scratchy, even though we are not paying, why do I see this next person who don't have any light over in Western Westmoreland pay? That I'm getting that person neighbor might get light even though they are not a paying customer either as a result, neighbor, because of their geographical location and what kind of significant infrastructure they might be close to, or where that line or that grid run towards their premises, so that you know they're not gonna just say, well, cannot just give the single to the school. So everybody who in the school area who feed from that same pole might get light. So we have to understand, neighbor, it's a service, neighbor, and the time. I think that they would definitely be connected in time, and the JPS is working on it, neighbor. But it doesn't sound good, neighbor, but it also, the context also must be put in place. And the perfect person, neighbor, I don't think it's any government official who should come with that context. I think it's no less a person, neighbor, than the JPS who should come with that context, neighbor, and let us know. Well, is it as a result of lack of pain or low pain customer rate in that part of Eastern Westmoreland? Why Eastern Westmoreland hasn't received any light? Or what? Talk to us, let us know what is going on. I don't want to hear from
I spoke to someone from St. Catherine, Scratchy, and they told me that they have never lost electricity. They told me they got back electricity the following day. And because you see where I live, Scratchy, if you don't pay your light bill in a couple of days after it due, like
of course.
Like, I'm telling you, it's a smart meter, and if you don't pay your light bill, you're like gone. And if you pay it online, JPS put it back on in less than 2 minutes. It's not somebody coming to put it back on the post. It's something they just dial up in their office. Once they look on the computer and the payment is there, your light is back.
Right in 2 minutes. It takes cash to care, neighbor. It takes cash to care, neighbor.
Where I live, sir, you don't pay your light bill, you don't have no electricity. That's just how it is. And therefore, Scratchy, I think JPS is in this for business. As you say, it's not a social service.
Definitely, neighbor. It's not a social service. It's all about profit, neighbor.
Yes, but then, Scratchy, I think the backstory here, Scratchy, is that it looks bad on the PNP.
Definitely, neighbor. It definitely looks bad on the PNP, neighbor, because yes, we understand, neighbor, that it's not just Eastern Westmoreland alone who's guilty, neighbor, of thieving light, neighbor, or gaining light through an illicit way, neighbor. We must also understand it is something that is well known across the whole 14 or 15 parishes of Jamaica, neighbor. But for a particular constituency, neighbor, deep rural constituency as well, neighbor, for so many persons, the social, not just light neighbor, there's a whole lot of other social decay that continues to suffer from neighbor. Lack of water neighbor, lack of road infrastructure. And you will look at it and say, okay, yes, all of Jamaica suffer from these things, but neighbor, the point that must be made is that this particular constituency neighbor is the only constituency in Jamaica neighbor that had a prime minister for over 14 years. A prime minister who's the head of the cabinet neighbor, a prime minister who has total responsibility and control over the resources neighbor and disbursement of the resources in this country neighbor in terms of where you get infrastructure development. So if that prime minister didn't see it fit neighbor to fix up that constituency within his 14.5 years neighbor, it's total a shame on him neighbor, and it's a shame on the person's neighbor. I don't want to condemn these persons. They are human beings, they're Jamaicans, but I think persons in these constituency neighbor, as my grandma would famously say neighbor, you spread a bed neighbor, you have to just lay in it, you know.
Well, you know, Scratchy, Dayton Campbell, in trying to probably embarrass the minister, maybe embarrassing himself here, you know, Scratchy, because what I'm hearing here is that the real story behind these people not having light is the poor representation of the constituency, the underdevelopment, the fact that the people have not advanced over these many years, Scratchy.
Definitely, neighbor. Westmoreland neighbor is one of the parishes right now, neighbor. We can definitely say, neighbor, within the advancement, neighbor. And if you look, neighbor, when if you look, they say 5 or 7 constituencies has been damaged across this disaster, neighbor. And majority neighbor, if not all of the negatives and the bad news that and the bad press that is coming out of this, it's coming from Westmoreland neighbor. It is coming from Westmoreland neighbor. Persons being robbed, Westmoreland. Persons robbing the shelter where it's at school and taking away laptops and school infrastructure and school materials. Westmoreland. Persons coming on and saying that they're not leave and they're not this. We don't see these things happening in any other parish neighbor. Something is wrong with these persons in Westmoreland neighbor, and the People's National Party neighbor has indoctrinated these people neighbor. They have played on these people psychological neighbor, and it's having an effect on them right now. It is having an effect. Serious effect.
What we are seeing here, Scratchy, is symptomatic of People's National Party failure, Scratchy. Did you know, Scratchy, that the minister made this point, that the PNP was in principle against the distribution of the $150 million. You know that they never supported it?
They didn't support it, never.
As a matter of fact, Ian Hales, I have him on tape saying that the people should get back their roof. They must make JPS go to the market, go borrow the money. What if the government did not lend JPS the money? Westmoreland wouldn't get back like 2-3 years, Scratchy.
Neighbor, the CEO for Westmoreland, he did say it, neighbor, that it will be 2027 going down them those time before light will have come back, neighbor, to a certain level, neighbor, to certain places. So compared to where Westmoreland is right now, neighbor, we could make a safe bet and say 2028 will be their date because of the devastation, neighbor, the terrain, the infrastructure, neighbor. JPS right now, neighbor, is after two. I can tell you, neighbor, that JPS right now, neighbor, in their rolling out of Eastern Westmoreland neighbor, JPS is drafting up something right now, neighbor, where they're going to try to be strategic, neighbor. They try to go be smart, they roll out back their infrastructure, neighbor. They're not going to just put up back these infrastructure, neighbor, for them to be damaged again, neighbor, and for persons to just come and chew up wire and benefit from the free service. They are not, neighbor. They are telling the neighbor they are putting things in place. I can definitely tell the neighbor that this time, neighbor, JPS will be using the anti-theft system that they have down there in Eastern Westmoreland. They are not going to just be safety and everything, neighbor. This costs them a lot of money, neighbor. And JPS going forward would definitely want to reap back some from a profit, neighbor.
I'm repeating. Swaby?
Yes.
Swaby, you grew up in Eastern Westmoreland. What type of development is in that constituency? What industry? What do the people?
We don't have anything like development down that side.
You don't have any development there?
No. Everybody have to like go to hustle for your own self. Yeah. Even when the $150 million that they did when the government opposed, and I was telling my mom, I said, imagine, I was listening Parliament and here the government is fighting for the money to pay for you guys to get light down there because don't have no current down there, so you can't see what's going on in Parliament. And some of them, they said, oh, don't follow her. She turn labor right, and that's why when he tell them down there, he say me turn labor right. That's why me I take up the labor right. So he say okay.
So what were the achievements of the former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson?
We
when
don't
he was-
and you I'm not even want to mention that man name because that man do nothing. If you're so for Dalistan to from Belmont to where this so is like a surrounded by itself. Nothing. They people don't have no good house, they don't have no good road, they don't have nothing. Nothing. And but when you see, that's why me always say rush them and rush these people sometimes because we tell them when you see like they have like election time coming, whether it's local election or the big election, they come around and they can buy them in little thing and them and in the phone. And look it is. Even that they don't learn. They don't
You're breaking
learn.
up. But hold on, listeners. Fred Barker Evans won as an independent in 1944. FLB Evans for the PNP in 1949. Maxwell Carey for the PNP 1955, 1959, 1962 PNP. Euphemia Williams 1980 to 1989 PNP. PJ Patterson 1980 1993 2006 well, how many terms PJ served there?
4 terms or more, neighbor.
Yeah, Luther Buchanan, and then Daniel Lawrence for the Jamaica Labour Party. 1 term. The Jamaica Labour Party has only served that constituency for 1 term, you know, Scratchy, from 1944, 1 term.
Exactly, neighbor, and it's just to show you, neighbor, that 1 term that the Jamaica Labour Party
but then Scratchy, it also
Danny Lawrence, neighbor, to make any mark in that constituency, neighbor. It would take half of the government budget at that time, neighbor, and it would be total madness for the government to spend half of its budget, neighbor, in Eastern Westmoreland so that Danny Lawrence could secure victory again. It didn't make any political, make any financial sense. That is just to show, neighbor, the devastation, neighbor, or run down that constituencies, neighbor, or undeveloped that constituencies, neighbor, from poor leadership and everything, neighbor, because I'm telling you, neighbor, that constituency has the luxury, neighbor, and the benefit, neighbor, and can be boastful to say that, yes, we have other prime minister, we have the longest serving prime minister in Jamaica, but, neighbor, there's nothing in that constituency to show that the prime minister held that constituency for the longest. There's nothing down there to show, neighbor. There's nothing. You can see, neighbor, by the devastation of the Star, neighbor. The member of parliament himself said that 2,000 houses, one little area just blew away just like that. You can see it, neighbor. And as I said again, neighbor, something is wrong with the people down there in Westmoreland, neighbor. I think they need some form of psychological help because, neighbor, the people's national, neighbor, the PNP called Westmoreland in the neighbor before the election, neighbor. The PNP knew they were going to win the election before the election in the neighbor.
Yeah, hold on for me, Scratchy, please. I can. You know, this brings tears to my eye. I feel so sad tonight. What a sad story. What a sad story. This is what you call systemic enslavement. imagine Swaby. Swaby,
Yes.
Swaby, you know Maxwell Carey Maxwell,
Yes.
Euphemia Williams,
No. Mm-mm.
Luther Buchanan,
Yes.
E.J. Patterson,
Yes.
all comrades. The Jamaica Labour Party have only held that constituency for one term since 1944.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they built a lot of road. Even Mr. Danny Lawrence, is my good friend. And when he won, I went down and I said to him, I said, you can't kill yourself, because a lot here to be done. And even Mr. PJ was there so long. And when they have a road near me, that I'm telling you, that road was like they use bike to go up into that road because no car cannot go up in there. They have to use bike or you walk. And when me go back down there, Mr. Danny fix that road, right? I don't know since the hurricane the hurricane mash it up. Mr. Danny Lawrence fix that road. And it was a talking. I was like, everybody like come there and say, no, we couldn't. I didn't know. I didn't know, neighbor, that they was gonna vote out Mr. Danny, because the mentality of the people when you talk to them is not like if you do something or you don't do something. And matter of fact, if you are a PNP and you come from down there, you don't have to do nothing but you're sure you will win. You don't have to do nothing.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you, you don't have to do nothing. But I'm telling you, it's something when we talk with people, and when we go down there, we talk with people and stuff like that. And me always say to them, the boy, them people have a different mental problem. Because you don't have to do it. If you come from down there, so long as you're PNP, you don't have to do nothing. One might be you can pass and you them laugh and drink and whatever, but you don't have to do nothing. You know you're secure. I'm telling you. Mr. Danny, when I hear that man lose, oh my God, I feel so bad to see the amount of work that man do for that 4 years. Trust me. He worked down there. I tell you, he worked down there. They could call Mr. Danny. I don't know if he too because he live at White House and they know where he live. But I'm telling you, could call to him at any time and that man would be there.
Scratchy.
Yes, never.
This is a scandal, is it not? It's a scandal, Scratchy, that we have a part of Jamaica cut off. Not one of them have light tonight. And the real story behind this, Scratchy, is that since 1944, the PNP has held this constituency, and these people have been no movement in their progress, Scratchy. What a shame.
Definitely, neighbor. What a shame, neighbor. Definitely a shame and embarrassment. And for Dr. Campbell, neighbor, I know Dr. Campbell is trying to put the minister on the spot. He's trying to show up the minister. I mean, but at the same time, when you're trying to show up the minister, you must also have to take some form of accountability. I know you might be saying that you're a new member of parliament. You're just a member of parliament for this constituency since September. So it couldn't be you, but the organization or the political organization that you support or the political organization that you're a part of, and you will have a key role in that organization as well. You're a leader, you're part of the leadership of that organization. So you must take some accountability. You must see yourself as a part of the problem. And definitely understand that if the Jamaica Labour Party is going to be the solution for a lot of these problems, neighbor. But it's just so sad, neighbor, that the people in Westmoreland, neighbor, they are so indoctrinated, neighbor. They believe in this PNP cult, neighbor. PNP have them by the neck. Yes, as Swede said, neighbor, you can go down there and be a PNP. You don't have to do nothing. Over the next side, neighbor. I believe Central, neighbor, the member of parliament over that side, we hear announcement, neighbor, where this guy just sit down in bar and drink with peer other old guys and old members like himself. So these are the things that Westmoreland wants, neighbor. Westmoreland doesn't want any form of infrastructure, neighbor. Westmoreland doesn't want any road. Westmoreland don't want any water. Westmoreland don't want any light, neighbor. Westmoreland want poverty. Westmoreland want stress. Westmoreland want handout. That's what Westmoreland want. Take the Petersfield School as a perfect example, neighbor. A lady that came out and gave an interview, neighbor. She should be shamed. Social media, everybody should have condemned. She should have come tomorrow morning and shame like dog, neighbor. To come out and make them type of pronouncement, they're not going away and this and that. I understand, yes, the government must play some form of role, but you have to also take some form of accountability. You should be shamed to think that you have, neighbor, these people are 2 feet, have too much sense, the sense of entitlement. That is what is damaging Westmoreland, neighbor. The sense, and the PJ party is cause it in, neighbor. Because under his stewardship, neighbor, what him did was just lot out land give people just get land. And that a lot of these persons right now, neighbor, they don't have any farm of ownership or entitlement for these land, neighbor. That is why right now, you see the situation is going on right now, neighbor. And I can tell you that the reason why JPS might be having problem right now, neighbor, putting up a lot of these posts, neighbor, it can be as a result of land issues, neighbor. Because JPS can't just go put pole on a man land so without the man authority, neighbor. So there's a lot of land problem going on down there right now, neighbor. PJ, in an informal way, neighbor, gave away a lot of land. He just gave away lands, neighbor, and the people them never get no title. These lands weren't registered, neighbor. And it is causing a lot of problem right now down there in Westmoreland.
Oh my goodness. Kwachi, in the context of Jamaica's development, though, we will have to have a conversation with this as another time. But in the context of where Jamaica is to go, this is a piece of Jamaica. It's a part of Jamaica, Scratchy. It can't continue like this, man.
Neighbor, it can't continue, neighbor. We saw where for the first time, neighbor, many years, neighbor. The first time in my being a part of the political scene, neighbor, I saw where government come forward, led by Andrew Michael Lawrence, neighbor. Where this government launched a wonderful program, neighbor, called the Spark program, neighbor. This was a program, neighbor, that had the potential to fix about 10 roads in each constituency, neighbor, with the possibility of being as for part 2. So neighbor, when you look and see that Westmoreland, they didn't vote it for this, neighbor, and this wasn't a political one, neighbor, compared to what used to done under the previous PNP government, neighbor, where the distribution of government resources, neighbor, was done on a one-sided thing. This thing was done on a broad level, neighbor, where all 63 constituencies benefited from Spark program, neighbor. The government at the time had 49 constituencies, neighbor. The government had the majority. The government could have used it as a political tool, Sparks, neighbor, going into the election, neighbor. The 14 constituencies that the government lost, neighbor, the government could have invested the Spark money, the 20 billion or the 40 billion, heavily in those 14 constituencies, neighbor. And the government decided not to do that, neighbor. The government wanted every single constituency to benefit from it. And we see that Jamaicans are not ready for the type of politics that the Jamaica Labour Party is coming with, neighbor. And it is just so shocking that over 400,000 of Jamaicans still believe in the People's National Party, neighbor, and still voted September 3rd for poverty and destruction.
So Swaby, is Central and Eastern Westmoreland better than Central and Western? Are they better? Do you know anything about those constituencies?
Better in what way? Because it has since the hurricane.
No, man. In terms of the development,
it's not too bad. No, it's not too bad.
You get the call there.
Yeah.
Scratchy, do you think that the government, what can the government do to advance Westmoreland? Because they're not likely to retain them back at the next election, Scratchy. Do you think?
No, neighbor, I definitely don't see the government retaining Westmoreland back, neighbor, because when you look at the three member of parliament on the PNP side that is down on Westmoreland, neighbor, these are 3 conniving guys, neighbor. These are 3 guys who I think neighbor. These are 3 conniving guys, neighbor.
Especially Mr. Hill.
Neighbor, especially him. Especially that 3 card one.
He said Sal fish.
Never. When Mr. A is ready, to put that camera in front of him and put on him like a sad face and him sad voice, man. He's very careful.
He's a Sal fish.
He's very careful and he'll trick you. There are 3 conniving guys that are down there.
let's do a little bit more of that. I'm coming back to you. Scratchy, I think you're correct. They're conniving, eh?
Yes, neighbor, 3 conniving guys, neighbor. I'm telling you, man, these guys are these 3 guys, neighbor, they're not gonna, I think the weakest thing might be the one at Central, neighbor, but the reason why he's still strong, neighbor, I think they have some form of love, of like for him, neighbor, you know? He can give them their favorite, beverage to drink, neighbor, so they would definitely stick to that one from Central, neighbor, but
yes,
Eastern and Western, neighbor, there was 2 especially. And as you can see, neighbor, Westmoreland vote one way, neighbor. If they're going to vote Labour, all 3 constituencies are going to go Labour, neighbor. They're going to vote PNP, all 3 constituencies are going to vote PNP, neighbor.
Yeah. And also, Scratchy, you notice that the PNP is very focused on Westmoreland. It's almost like they don't want to lose grip of it. Very focused on Westmoreland. A lot of resources from them, they move there too, eh?
Definitely, neighbor. That is where they push most of their resources, neighbor, directly in Westmoreland, neighbor, because the PNP, they know how important Westmoreland is, neighbor, if they should gain, in their attempt, neighbor, to gain state power come 2030 or whenever the next general election is called. They know the importance of Westmoreland, neighbor. They have seen where these persons voted, these people voted against them in 2020. They know that now, neighbor, they see something similar to 2020, neighbor, in terms of the resources, neighbor, at the government disposal, in terms of the Prime Minister appetite being right for persons down there, the Prime Minister appetite being right down there in Westmoreland, neighbor, towards those persons, in terms of cash grants and government resources and government help that these persons might get, neighbor. The PNP is very wary as to the impact, neighbor, that these government resources might have. And a lot of these persons who they consider to be their core supporters. So I think that's where the shaking is coming on the opposition part. And I think that's why, neighbor, they made it their point, neighbor, to make sure that they muddy the water from early. They try to spew all type of misinformation. They try to get the persons down there to rebut against the government, stand up against the agencies and stuff like that, you know. So I think that is why the PNP is doing that, neighbor, so that it can look as if the government is not making enough attempt to try to help persons down there in Westmoreland in particular. But again, neighbor, they are concerned because of the resources that the government has at its disposal.
Oh, fantastic. Good night to you, Bastion.
Yeah, good night. You know, good night, everyone, your viewers and your subscribers. Scratchy, big up, you know.
Bless up, my
back,
brother.
sir.
Bless up,
So,
Good night.
yeah, good night. Yeah, I have relatives in Westmoreland. In Westmoreland, I used to go there and spend Christmas holidays back in the days, you know. From Grangeville and those places.
Yeah. But Sean,
yes.
What's happening in Westmoreland? Tell us from your viewpoint. What do you think is really happening?
All right. Neighbor, let me tell you, cause my grandparents, both my grandparents are from Westmoreland, and I moved and my parents moved to Portmore, and I was born in Portmore. But you see, Westmoreland, the history of Westmoreland is, and I text earlier in the chat. Westmoreland, when Jamaica was colonized by the British, and we had the sugar plantation. Parishes like Manchester, St. Elizabeth were known as prime parishes, you know, the best school, the education, the high life. But in Westmoreland was looked down upon as just cane planters and cane cutters. And that is what caused Westmoreland to be this way up until this day. You know, if you see how the housing structure there is, you know, they don't have any land title. You know, you just knock up a board house, and if anything happens, you just disassemble the board house and move to a next lot and build up a board house again. And you know, that's how Westmoreland is, you know. And I tell you, Neighbour, Westmoreland has some prominent high schools. You know, Manning's a very good high school, and you know, and they have Petersfield, Frome. They have good high school there, but you know, from colonial days, you know, the parish has been cursed. You know, and that's just it. You know, and
that they're under hold on, that they're under a curse.
Yeah, man, from colonial times, man. From colonial times.
You can't say that.
Curse? What's happening?
Neighbor, I agree.
No, you can't say that.
People can't love Papa sister neighbor. People can't love Papa sister.
Swebe, listen to me. I used to go. Both my grandparents are from there, aunts, uncles, cousins. I used to go there and spend a holiday. I know Westmoreland. Yeah, man.
Never.
You know
You see the hurricane that hit Westmoreland? Be
Yes.
honest. You know why it look like they get such a bad hit? Because they don't have like the infrastructure at the
Infrastructure
house.
to withstand it.
Right. So, and listen to me, it's like I'm from there, you know, and nothing going, let me stop there. I'm from there. But let me tell you something, even when I go back down there in some place, even at the town in a Savlama, if you're going to some place like Russia, Darling Street, Queen Street, and then something, the kind of house that they have here, I'm telling you, it's like you know, you just build up one little something with two little board window, and you know, that's it. So when a category 5 hurricane struck, place like those, it carried dirt. And then it look like say the hurricane really tore it up that hole in a certain way. But it's just a reality. At the house, the structure is the problem.
Neighbor.
The structure at the house them is the problem. It's not really say.
It's the parish of Westmoreland. They have the most land disputes.
Yes.
I can tell you that. A lot of house burned down. A cousin build a house and a cousin bad mind and jealous.
And burn it.
A lot of that goes on in Westmoreland.
And they always have problem with land. Everybody a fight for land, you know? Yeah.
Land, a lot of land dispute, neighbor.
You check the family court. Right. Check the courthouse. The amount of family down here with court problem, with land problem.
You're talking together. I'm not, hold on. You're talking together. Go ahead, Swebe.
Yeah, I said you go down to Solomon and check that court. The amount of people that's family member is down there with land problem. Yes. Yes. So it's
yeah, man.
Hold on there. Let's hear 86 Farmer. Good night, sir.
Night, neighbor.
Yeah, we're on Westmoreland, sir. Westmoreland, not one person in Eastern Westmoreland have light. And we're trying to figure out that. You know, sir, they are our Jamaican brothers and sisters. Are you from Westmoreland?
Well, I left Kingston and went to Westmoreland in 1980, I think 85, and I didn't leave Westmoreland until 2000. So I spent most of my young years in Westmoreland. Petersfield High School, I used to live in Shrewsbury Housing Scheme. And some facts about Westmoreland. Westmoreland have the flattest area per square mile in Jamaica. Westmoreland is the only parish with two south and north coast. You know, the longest stretch of white sand beach, and yet Westmoreland have the only parish in Jamaica without an industry.
What you say to me? Hold on, give us those figures again.
Okay, Westmoreland have a vast flatland suitable for most things, anything. Westmoreland have 2 coasts, only parish in Jamaica with a south coast and a north coast. Vast white sand beach, the most white sand beach you can find. Yet still Westmoreland doesn't have an industry. They don't farm. The tourist area is in Hanover.
Westmoreland, there's no farming in Westmoreland?
No farming in Westmoreland.
Even though they have all
No,
that flat land?
no.
Well.
No, you have cane plantation in Westmoreland.
Used to.
Cane still a plant?
No, all that is gone. Right? The only thing Westmoreland used to do was farm cane, and all that now is gone.
Yeah, because the Frome sugar factory is down now.
Frome locked down.
Exactly.
Yeah, Frome sugar factory locked down.
They have vast amount of sea. They don't do fishing. One area in Westmoreland do a bit of fishing, and that is White House. And they don't even fish. They go to Pedro Key to buy fish and come back. I'm saying all of this to say, with all the prominent politicians that the PNP have placed there, the PJ, the Blight, you name them, the most powerful politicians.
Roger Clark.
Right?
Roger Clark was once there, right?
Roger Clark, the one that deal with tourism. What's his name?
Agriculture, I mean.
Wickham McNeil.
Wickham McNeil. The powerhouses.
Carl Blight.
Yet still,
Carl
Westmoreland is, I don't want to say it. You know?
Prime Minister, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Housing.
The poorest area in Jamaica, in the whole Jamaica, is Eastern Westmoreland. That's the poorest area in the entire Jamaica. And that the most powerful politician.
Hold on, Sammy. Yes, Neighbour,
I thought, Neighbour.
Hold on the rice, Roger.
Hold on, boss. Hold on. Where the rice there? Where the rice?
Roger, eat it off. Eat the whole of the rice and the pork.
Hey, one thing in a Neighbour, a lot of pretty girls are in Westmoreland. A lot of pretty girls are in Westmoreland. Yeah, what?
You have to hold on. Sorry. Farmer, I don't want us to stray too much from what we are talking about still. You see, and it's a serious discussion that since Melissa, not one JPS customer has been restored light there. You want to help me to understand why they don't have it.
I guess it's in East. You're speaking specifically of Eastern Westmoreland, right?
Yes.
Or the entire Westmoreland.
I'm speaking about Dayton Campbell's suggestion. Yes, that not one of his constituents that are JPS customers, that they have light. And I'm saying that there has to be a backstory here. That can't just be the full story.
Well, I'm hearing from persons in White House that light has been restored, and if my memory serves me right, White House is in Dayton Campbell constituency, right, and that constituency stretches goes right back to St. James. However, it would suggest that it's the terrain. It's the most hilly section of Westmoreland. Dayton Campbell constituency stretch from White House to Darliston, almost to Betheltown, and it's really hilly. It's hard. You'll be looking at a community. You can see it and they can hear your voice, but getting there is a whole different ball game. You know, And if a road is blocked to get to somewhere that you're looking over there, you can't see the person, you'd have to go around Jericho and come back round.
This is a parish, a constituency that has been dominated by the People's National Party, sir. And I'm struggling to understand why is it that with so little development they remain so loyal to the party? Would you want to help us to understand that?
Well, the day I left Petersfield High School, I only go back to Westmoreland to visit. I came to Kingston with a knapsack on my back and my sister put me on the floor to sleep. And I didn't go back to Westmoreland to look, just to visit, you know. And it says that I didn't see a future there. You didn't?
Wow.
I didn't see a future there. And I had to leave. And my conclusion is that the people of Westmoreland, they don't know better. They weren't exposed to better by the leaders. So they just don't know better.
Tell me about the politics on the ground. When you were there, how do the people practice politics? How do they respond to the politicians that were there? Who was the member of parliament, for example, when you were there?
All right. So the member of parliament was, I lived in central Westmoreland. So the member of parliament at the time was Dr. Carl Blight. And in eastern Westmoreland, you had PJ Patterson. And in western Westmoreland, I think it was Wickham McNeil for a time. And you had Russell Hammond for the JLP and Astil Sangster, a gentleman named Astil Sangster. And I tell you, Russell Hammond had several businesses and he lived in Westmoreland. And all of these people, PJ Patterson just visit Westmoreland once every 5 years just to show his face. He's certain that he would win. And the people would never vote for Mr. Sangster or Russell Hammond, despite the offering jobs and, you know, a way out. These people will tell you about Michael Manley. You know, that
It's
Michael
a curse,
Manley
farmer.
came.
It's a curse.
Michael Manley came and he sat with their grandfather and eat out of him cheese pan and him mackerel pan on the fire. And to this day, you still have young people like myself speaking the same language that Michael Manley, dear grandfather,
Curse from colonial times.
Came and sit down and eat breadfruit out of a cheese pan. No,
There's a view, sir, that that the Jamaica Public Service Company is into business. They are into making a profit, and that the residents in Westmoreland, Eastern is the focus, are not really paying customers of the JPS. And as a result of that, the JPS may be prioritizing paying customers rather than Eastern Westmoreland, which they would earn less from. Do you think that's a fair argument?
That's more than fair argument.
Is that fair argument, sir?
That is a very fair argument. I mean, if I put myself in JPS and in the shoes of JPS, and I don't want to stray, a lot of these houses, the next thing is a lot of these houses, they are not fit to acquire legal electricity. They are not fit, right? And it's the interest of JPS to put their attention to the areas where they can collect, right? I would do the same. If I have 50 paying customer here and I have 5 there, right? And I know if I run my wire there, probably 50 people connect, but I'm only able to collect from 5. I would run where the 50 paying customers are and not where the 5 and another 45 might show up and whatnot.
Yes.
It spell logical sense.
What does it say about the PNP, sir, that I think Mr. Campbell Daly is correctly representing his constituency, his constituents, and raised this matter in Parliament. But probably he is uncovering a can of worms, you know, sir, because here is it that we are now looking at the the story behind Campbell's pronouncement in Parliament that, you know, probably there is a political problem down in Westmoreland, and it needs to be addressed. What do you think about the politics behind